If you just received an IRS letter by certified mail and you owe a substantial amount to the IRS, which is usually by the IRS considered to be more than 50,000, where you can no longer get into a streamlined plan. This is not something to ignore, but it's also not time to panic. Certified mail from the IRS usually means one thing. Your case has reached a serious stage and deadlines now matter. In this video, I'll explain why the IRS uses certified mail, what this letter usually means, and what you should do if you owe the IRS a substantial amount and get a certified letter. Hi, I'm Bob Jablonski. I'm an enrolled agent and a certified tax resolution specialist. I help taxpayers nationwide who owe the IRS, especially those who have balances of over $50,000, stop collection and resolve tax debt the right way. So first you may be asking why the IRS uses certified mail. Well, here's the key thing to understand. They send routine notices by regular mail, but when the IRS sends something by certified mail, it usually is because you have appeal rights that matter, there are deadlines on that notice that matter, or the IRS is preparing to move forward towards enforcement. Certified mail allows the IRS to prove you received the letter or that they had tried to deliver it. Keep in mind that they are required to send it to the last known address. So it doesn't mean you necessarily have to receive it, but the last address that you filed a return or the IRS is aware of is where they need to send that notice. So what IRS notices are commonly sent certified? Certified mail is commonly used for things like the final notice of intent to levy, the LT11, the letter 1058, the CP90. Maybe you got it after the IRS has filed a federal tax lien. You get a notice that a federal tax lien filing occurred on a letter 3172. Maybe you have a notice of your right to a collection due process hearing, which could be on either of those two notices, or certain appeal determinations may come as well. These letters are different from the CP14 or the CP501 or even the CP503. They come with real deadlines and have legal consequences. So why is this especially serious if you owe the IRS a substantial amount of money? So for balances that are substantial to the IRS, which, as I mentioned earlier, typically considered $50,000 or more, the IRS views that case differently. At this level, the IRS may filed or already filed a notice of federal tax lien. They may be preparing for bank levies or wage garnishments, and they can assign the case to a more aggressive collection track with high debt owners, such as a revenue officer who becomes your own personal collection agent. That's why it's certified mail is often the IRS saying, we're done sending reminders, now actions required. So what are some of the mistakes you don't want to make that taxpayers often make? The biggest mistakes I see are often people are afraid to open a certified letter, thinking if I just ignore it, it'll go away. Or they open it, they sign for it, and they set it aside. Or they think that ignoring it will delay things. Well, here's the reality. Ignoring certified mail often speeds up enforcement because the IRS can show you were notified, you have a deadline, and you're never going to meet it if you don't open it or review it or take it seriously. So what do you do first when you get certified mail? Here's what I recommend doing first, and I recommend doing it in this order because these are things that I recommend for pretty much all notices, but it becomes more serious in these circumstances. Step one, you open the letter immediately. Look for the notice title, the date, any response deadline. Make sure you know what you're dealing with. Identify whether appeal rights are included. If the letter mentions final notice, right to a hearing, collection due process, all of these are things are telling you you have some deadlines that are coming up that you need to meet if you want to protect your rights. Your clock's already ticking, so keep that in mind with these notices. So what are some of the common options you have once you get this letter? Well, it's going to depend on the letter you received, whether or not the balance is correct, and your own personal financial situations. But some of those options may include if you believe the balance is incorrect, it may be to challenge those incorrect balances. If you do believe they're correct after researching, you may need to set up an installment agreement, one that's correct and reflects your ability to pay, not only what the IRS is trying to get you into. If you have hardship, financial hardship, you may want to look at being able to request currently not collectible status. Or if you qualify, file for an offer in compromise. You want to request a CDP hearing if it's available to protect your rights and to give you time to negotiate with the IRS. That would be with a 12253, a Form 12253. I will link that below. I've covered it in another video. If you have the option, penalty abatement, if that's something that you can do. But the right move is going to depend on the letter you received and your own personal financial situation. So to sum it up, IRS certified mail is serious. It usually means you have deadlines and levy risk, or maybe you have a notice of federal tax lien that's already been filed. When you get any notice from the IRS, but the stakes are even higher when we're talking about certified mail, acting early is going to give you more options, while ignoring that notice is almost always going to make things worse. And when you owe a substantial amount to the IRS, $50,000, $75,000, $100,000, $200,000, the stakes are increased because the IRS is going to be more aggressive towards you than to someone who owes a lower amount. Just remember, the letter itself isn't the end. You have options, but it's a turning point and you now have deadlines. So if you received an IRS letter by certified mail, don't guess and don't ignore it. You can schedule a free consultation with my office at Jablonski Tax Relief. Talk to me personally, and I'll review the letter with you and help you decide on your next best step. Like this video, subscribe for more IRS guidance, and comment below. What IRS letter did you receive? Was it certified mail? And what question do you have?